WOUB.
Now at 6:30, Governor Mike DeWine signs the state's budget. Details on the latest changes and what new funding cuts mean for you.
Plus,
a lot of us on the House side are worried about with the Senate bill.
The Senate narrowly passes President Trump's major domestic policy bill. Why some lawmakers are concerned about what happens next.
And President Trump visits a new detention center he calls Alligator Alcatraz. How the new prison plays into the next stage of Trump's immigration policy. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joshua Herner.
And I'm Megan Acker. Welcome to Newswatch.
We have a lot to get to tonight, but first, let's hear from forecaster Steve Nedlick. Steve?
Yeah, guys, we've had a really busy weather day today and really a start to this week. It's been pretty busy. We've had a lot of rain in the area over the past 2 days. Right now, we're sitting at 73 degrees, but we're still really humid. And a big reason for that is this rain that has moved through our area all day today and all day yesterday. But now it's finally starting to push itself out of our area, but not before it hasn't dropped our temperatures statewide almost. We're in the 70s all over the place. Nowhere is really feeling except for, up in Springfield, 76, mid-70s, but we're pretty chilly right now, all things considered. Right now, looking into tonight, we're going to keep going down a little bit. It'll be a little nicer tonight, especially after that cold front moves through, but we will have this spotty chance of showers as we go later into tonight. And if we look at tomorrow, we're going to start to heat back up, but the rain chances will stick around until the morning hours. But then our skies clear up, and we are looking at nothing but sunshine through the middle of this week. So stay tuned to see what the 4th of July looks like.
Thank you, Steve. Governor Mike DeWine signed the state's 2-year budget into law.
DeWine signed the bill late last night, just meeting the midnight deadline. Approved for the state's flat income tax and the funding plan for the new Cleveland Browns Stadium. The bill detailed a flat income tax rate of 2.75%, which Republican lawmakers say gives Ohioans the tax relief they've been asking for, while opponents say the tax break would only bring tax relief to those making 6 figures or more and would cost the state billions.
As for the new stadium, lawmakers have been up in arms about that for months. In DeWine's original version of the budget, the stadium was funded through revenue from an increase in sports betting taxes. In the final budget, the stadium is partially funded using unclaimed funds from the state. But not everything in the General Assembly's version survived DeWine's line item veto power.
I'm calling balls and strikes, and so if I see something that I think is not good for the state of Ohio, I weigh whether I should veto it or not. So it's just the way it came out. It's how the score ended up.
In total, DeWine issued a total of 67 line item vetoes, including a major proposal cutting school funding.
The proposal would have capped the percentage of cash carryovers school districts can keep between years. Make from property taxes from voter-approved levies. The budget would have limited schools to only keeping 40% of those funds, which lawmakers say would bring property tax relief to homeowners, and schools say would have forced them to make major budget cuts.
The funding mechanism for public libraries has been removed from state law and put into a line item in the budget.
Republican legislators say it won't make much of a difference. The Athens County Public Library's director disagrees.
But for us, it is. That really reduces the stability of our funding moving forward because, of course, any future legislature or even governor could, with the stroke of a pen, eliminate our funding.
Tepe says libraries will likely have to rely more on property tax levies to operate and may not be able to offer the same services as costs continue to rise. The 2-year budget contains several provisions affecting people who are transgender.
DeWine partially vetoed a provision prohibiting state-funded homeless shelters from affirming social gender transition. Shelters are still not permitted to promote gender transition, but DeWine says if a shelter has to call a homeless youth a pronoun, quote, incongruent with their gender to get them into a shelter so they won't freeze to death, it needs to be done. The budget maintains provisions preventing Medicaid funding from being used for gender-affirming care and banning menstrual products in men's restrooms.
The budget also uses definitions of sex-based criticized by trans advocacy groups as exclusionary and inaccurate. The Parents' Bill of Rights went into effect today. The law says parents must be notified of any content about sexuality in the classroom and can pull their children out of those lessons. It also requires schools to alert parents to major changes in their child's physical or mental health, including if they want to be referred to by a different name and pronouns or start counseling. Supporters of the bill say it allows parents to play a larger role in public schools, but some schools worry that they'll be putting students in danger.
What's bothersome in this bill is even if we know there may be harm at home that may occur from the, if we use the phrase outing of the individual, that does not alleviate us from contacting the family. I want to ensure that those children are accepted in our school district.
A ward map for the city of Nelsonville is ready to be presented to the City Council. The Ohio Women's League of Voters and Nelsonville residents used a program titled Dave's Redistricting to draw up the new map. The new map is needed after voters passed Issue 23, switching the city to a statutory form of government. Trevor Martin has led the project for the Ohio Women's League of Voters and says he's pleased with how the Nelsonville came together to create the map.
But when we're talking about community and coming together, that's exactly what Nelsonville did. They came together as a community, and I think they produced a really fine map.
Under the current charter form of government, Nelsonville City Council is not allowed to approve any wards, meaning that the new council that takes office in January will take action to approve them. Martin will give a presentation to the ad hoc committee and the Nelsonville City Council in the next few weeks. The Stimson Avenue Bridge will be closed Thursday morning. The bridge will be closed between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. Thursday for repairs as part of the Stimson Avenue Bridge Improvements Project. The project will add a pedestrian path across the bridge and new lighting, among other repairs. It is expected to be completed this fall.
Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote to pass President Trump's giant tax and spending cuts package, what he calls his big, beautiful bill. It followed days of grueling work persuading key Republican holdouts. Weeks of bitter GOP infighting forced President Trump to step in to convince Republicans to back his plan, but the work isn't done yet. They still have to get the bill through the narrowly divided House of Representatives, which is expected to return to Washington tomorrow to vote. They must pass the Senate's exact version of the bill, which some critics say will be difficult.
I think without question, this is not a fiscally conservative bill, and if you're someone who thinks the debt is a problem, I don't see how you could vote for this in the House.
Republicans want to get the bill to Trump's desk by Friday. The multi-trillion-dollar bill would unlock tax cuts and funding boosts for national security. President Donald Trump is showcasing the newest immigration enforcement tool, one that he totes as having alligators standing watch. Brian Abel reports from the White House.
As President Trump's big, beautiful domestic policy bill heads back to the House after narrow passage by the Senate today, the president is getting out of Dodge, temporarily at least. The president is highlighting his immigration enforcement efforts with a visit to the newly built Alligator Alcatraz detention facility in the Florida Everglades. The prison meant to house migrant detainees before deportation. Greeting the president in Florida, protesters, some displeased with the facility's resurrection in an area adjacent to lands belonging to an indigenous tribe. Others disgruntled over potential environmental impacts, while some dissatisfied with what they call inhumane conditions for the people who will be kept there. However, Trump, alongside Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, saying the facility could act as a motivator for self-deportation.
These people come in here, they want to go home, and they want to go home, so we immediately send them home. Where it's appropriate. Now, if somebody's a real killer, we don't send them anywhere. We put them in a maximum security.
They don't have to come here. If they self-deport and go home, they can come back legally. We will let them come back legally.
And there is a lot of self-deportation.
Yes. But if you wait and we bring you to this facility, you don't ever get to come back to America. You don't get the chance to come back and be an American again.
The facility can house about 5,000 people inside. It's estimated to cost about $450 million a year to operate, and the first inmates could be inside as early as Wednesday morning. At the White House, Brian Abel reporting.
Athens County community members battled the elements to celebrate the beginning of a new era at Stroud's Run State Park. Newswatch reporter Charlie Ehlenfeld has the story.
While the weather would not cooperate, that did not stop people from huddling together to celebrate an accessible playground, walkway, and kayak launch at Stroud's Run State Park.
To see them excited about it, to see them interested, and even willing to brave today's torrential rains is really important.
The project started with a Facebook post about accessible walkways at the park.
After Salem Miller made her post on Facebook, there was quite a conversation online about how a lot of people would love it if it was easier to get to the beach.
Local Athens businesses and organizations pitched in to raise $30,000 for this project. The money was critical to secure matching funds in the form of a $99,000 grant from the governor's office of Appalachia.
Then it was announced as a surprise, and it is an exciting surprise to us, that the state was going to invest in a new accessible restroom, and that the Parks Foundation had received a donation, an anonymous donation, to put an inclusive playground on the beach.
Now, the park has a playground with accessibility-friendly places to play, a merry-go-round that is wheelchair accessible, ramps throughout, and a smooth walkway down to the beach and playground.
There's a variety of activities in the playground for people with a variety of abilities.
The changes are monumental for residents like Brian Woodyard, an avid kayaker. He said the launch will allow more people to get into the water and enjoy the lake.
What's nice about this kayak launch, it actually has handles so you can grab onto and pull yourself down into the water.
Woodyard says the whole project was more than he could have hoped for.
I mean, totally amazed. The playground is going to be a huge feature for kids.
While the weather was less than ideal, there will be plenty of days to enjoy a more accessible state park. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld in Athens.
Coming up, how President Trump's tariffs are impacting potential interest rate cuts and what the Fed chair had to say about it.
You are very likely going to sit in traffic.
And 4th of July weekend is right around the corner and millions are expected to hit the road. What you need to know about gas prices and traffic for your weekend road trip.
We've had a rainy start to the week, but we're going to slowly dry out. Find out what that means for your holiday weekend next.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
You know this is dangerous stuff to be meddling in, don't you? Oh. All mysteries need to be solved. Pedal to the metal!
This is a serious investigation.
Game changer.
I'm Chief Inspector Magley.
Well, well, the great detective.
So I've nicked every villain in this city once and the good ones twice.
He's disappeared off the face of the earth.
What?
I think you need to brace yourself for this, sir. I get straight to the matter.
Please do.
Is there anyone you didn't invite? You're welcome.
I can't leave a puzzle unsolved any more than you can. Well, what happens if she's wrong?
She's been right about everything else. A man gets murdered, and seemingly impossibly, his murderer escapes.
Politics is all about knowing what hand to play and when to play it.
Sunday on WOUB.
Make way for the Queen. The people love me.
This is not a request.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Newswatch. Now, Steve, we saw that there was rain at Stroud's this morning, and there was certainly rain here in town. I thought I was about to get swept away. Are we going to get any more of that in the future?
I mean, I think we're past the brunt of this rain, but we do have some lingering showers that might play a little play a role in tonight.
Now, Steve, I know something that you and I were both talking about earlier today was the flooding of the Hocking River. Is that something that was of concern today, and how high did it get?
It didn't get anywhere near flood level, but it's something we want to monitor if we had any rain in the future. But for right now, we, again, just have those spotty showers in the area. But we have really kind of cooled off just because of all that rain that's headed into our area. As it evaporates, it helps cool off the air. But notice one thing, that humidity, I mean, that's tropical, 84%. I mean, so we're kind of dealing with some pretty uncomfortable weather, even if the air temperature is 73. Now, all over the place, this rain has really cooled off the air. Lancaster 71, Athens 71. It's really not what we've been used to at all, especially after we just got done dealing with that heat wave. Now, again, we have seen pretty much the last of this front as it's moved through our area and pushed off. But if we take a look back, there's nothing really around it. There's no scattered showers that are going to impact us tomorrow. And it's mainly due to this front that is moving through our area. And once it clears, it's going to be backfilled with this high pressure system. Now that's going to do two things. It's going to clear our skies out. It's going to be nice and sunny and wonderful, but you'd still be concerned about that humidity, except we're finally going to get a little bit of relief from that muggy air, and it won't quite feel as terrible as it has for the past week with all that humidity. For tonight, we're going to cool off a little bit more than we did last night, too. We didn't even get out of the 70s last night. Tonight, 64. Again, those lingering showers might play a role, but once we get to tomorrow morning, it should be done for the most part. Tomorrow, again, pretty nice temperature, 86 degrees. It's not really going to be anything like we've been seeing with those 90, 95 degrees and a low of 64. So pretty nice weather. You can leave those windows open, turn a fan on, and you should be good to go. It should be pretty comfortable weather. Now, taking a look at our 4th of July plans, we're looking pretty good. I mean, Friday looks pretty as picture perfect as you can get. Saturday, the same thing, and we really only have a chance of rain moving into Sunday. And that's due to this, again, the high pressure that's moved into our area and really is just going to set up shop and not move much over the next few days. Tomorrow night, much of the same. It's just kind of keeping our skies really clear, and it's going to allow for us to slowly start building these temperatures back up after this cold front moved through. And then on Thursday, we do have the chance a little bit more in upstate New York is where we're going to see a lot of that rain, but we do have a chance, 10, 20% of just a few drops here and there. Now, again, with these clear skies, we are going to slowly start creeping back up. We're going to be a few degrees above average. Average this time of year is about 84 degrees. So it's going to be a pretty nice summery kind of feel to this week, and it's not going to be too oppressive with that humidity, so that's something nice to look out for. We kind of really see a tale of two halves over this 7-day outlook. We're sunny for the first half, and then we slowly start to see this rain return into our area with that humidity on Sunday at 95 degrees, and then we slowly start to head back down as we have a front move back into our system at the beginning of next week that'll reintroduce some rain and storm chances, so we're going to be looking out for that. But this week, it looks pretty beautiful. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that forecast, Steve. The Federal Reserve would have likely lowered interest rates already this year if it weren't for President Trump's trade policies. That's what Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said today at a banking forum in Portugal. His comments come in the wake of the president recently slamming Powell again on social media this week. Trump claiming higher rates have cost the country, quote, a fortune.
In effect, we went on hold when we saw the size of the tariffs and essentially all inflation forecasts for the United States went up materially as a consequence of the tariffs. So we didn't overreact. In fact, we didn't react at all. We're simply taking some time.
Investors predict a rate cut is unlikely. Economists say the U.S.'s currency has weakened more than 10% over the past 6 months. That's in comparison to finances from other top trading partners. That's a low not seen in more than 50 years, when the Nixon administration stopped linking the dollar to the price of gold in the 70s. Analysts say several factors are to blame for the wounded dollar, including President Trump's tariff policies and increased government debt. Experts say foreign countries may be less likely to invest in the U.S. over rising concerns about the U.S.'s role in the world's economy.
If you're looking for a job, you might be in luck. Job openings in the U.S. are up for the second time in about 2 months. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says the nation's labor market had nearly 7.8 million open positions in May. Officials say that's a high not seen in 6 months, an increase from the 7.4 million jobs reported in April. It's also a positive change from what economists had predicted. Economists had thought the amount of available jobs would drop in May because of Trump's tariff policies and geopolitical tensions. The June jobs report is scheduled to come out Thursday. If you're looking to get out of town for the holiday weekend, you might want to brace yourself for heavy traffic and long lines at airports. AAA says a record-setting 61.6 million people are expected to travel by car this 4th of July weekend. That's up 2.2% compared to last year. 18.5 million people are expected to fly over the next week. Experts say when the holiday falls is influencing the travel surge.
Part of the reason for that is because July 4th falls on a Friday this year, so that gives people that long holiday.
The busiest road travel times will be tomorrow between noon and 9 p.m. and Sunday, July 6th between noon and 6 p.m. If you're flying this week, the Transportation Security Administration recommends arriving early to the airport. Good news for drivers hitting the road this 4th of July weekend. The price of summer holiday gas hasn't been this cheap since 2021. At the national level, prices at the pump are expected to average between $3.10 and $3.15 per gallon. That's down from $3.49 per gallon last year. Here in Athens County, gas prices are a little higher at about $3.21 per gallon, while Ohio's average sits at $2.95 per gallon.
For blood doesn't stop.
Next, the Red Cross says blood donations are dropping in the summer, but the supply is still needed. What experts say is the reason behind the decline and what you can do to help.
On iconic America.
For people around the world, the Statue of Liberty stands for freedom.
It's a place where many, many, many Americans can trace their history to.
What it's supposed to symbolize is the abolition of slavery, but nobody knows that story.
It's hard to argue that there's a more iconic symbol of America today than the Statue of Liberty.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
This July 4th, join us for the 45th anniversary of a Capitol 4th. Celebrate our freedom and independence and those who defend it. Join our host, Alfonso Ribeiro, with the Beach Boys, Josh Turner, The Temptations, Lauren Daigle, Trombone Shorty, Abby Carter, Locash, Yolanda Adams, and the greatest display of fireworks in the USA, live from the U.S. Capitol. It's a Capitol 4th.
Friday at 8 on WOUB.
Can you feel the moment?
The American Revolution changed the world.
With a story unfolds.
Everybody had the sense of possibility worth fighting for.
What took place here still leaves us in awe.
We can work towards equality together.
Wow, this is the missing piece. Incredible.
To confront these figures from ancient history is a great privilege.
Our history tells us who we are, where we came from.
And it's all connected.
Like links in a chain.
Like links in a chain.
Yeah.
All I can do is say thank you.
Wow, this is phenomenal. I'm really grateful for this.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by constant headlines, breaking news alerts, and social media updates, you're not alone.
Experts say some people are suffering from something called news fatigue. Ivan Rodriguez has more on how to spot the signs and what you can do to protect your peace of mind.
Between TV, push alerts, and nonstop social media updates, experts say many of us are overwhelmed by the constant stream of news, and it could be affecting your mental and physical health.
Breaking news after the major U.S. strikes.
The saying goes, the news never sleeps. But with so much at our fingertips, it's easy to get fatigued.
News fatigue is defined as a state of emotional and mental exhaustion, and it's caused by consuming or being exposed to a large amount of news, especially negative or distressing news.
Dr. Don Grant points to the rise of smartphones and the 24/7 news cycle as turning points. Now social media can deliver headline after headline with little context and sometimes from sources that lack credibility.
Since that time, just exponentially, it seems like every day, there are more and more platforms that are supplying us with the news, whether it's a legitimate news or it's not.
If you are feeling news fatigue, Dr. Grant says there are ways it can be managed without disconnecting from the world.
limit your exposure. I really, really, really ask people, please do not check your news the second you wake up or right before you go to bed. Because what that could possibly do is if there's something unsettling, it is going to jar your entire day from the gate.
It's also okay to take a break.
Anything that is delivered through that device that's on a digital platform, it's there forever and currently being beamed out into space. It is never gone. You will miss nothing. You can always take a break.
Dr. Grant also recommends muting or unfollowing accounts that make you feel worse and doing regular spring cleaning of your apps and alerts, because at the end of the day, being informed shouldn't mean feeling overwhelmed. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Between more people taking vacations and less blood drives being held, a drop in blood donations is common in summer, but that doesn't make it less of an issue. Blood donations are needed for all kinds of reasons, ranging from surgeries to treatment plans. The American Red Cross says the organization typically reaches their lowest supply from late summer to early fall, but they're trying to prevent shortages.
Even though everybody else is taking a vacation during the summer, the need for blood doesn't stop and doesn't take a vacation.
While all blood types are needed, type O is in high demand. If you want to donate blood, you can visit the website on your screen to make an appointment or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Welcome to the age of humans.
Biological control is not an eradication tool, it's a management tool.
There was this sense that biological control was easy. It's not.
It has deep ethical implications.
Oh, that's so many mosquitoes. Why, I guess is the question.
You should get rid of the competition.
Don't let it get away.
I'm going to be thinking about that for a very long time.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go.
How would you know you got here?
It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, back-breaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back into Newswatch. Now, Steve, it is muggy. It feels damp out there. Are we going to see more rain in the future, or do we?
We actually have some relief on the way. Once this rain moves out fully and this cold front moves through, we're finally going to see some cooler air, and it's going to not be quite as muggy. But as for tonight, we're going to be dealing with an overnight low of 64 with, again, those chance of storms sticking around. But once those clear out, we're going to slowly start to warm back up and just have clear skies until at least Sunday, until a front moves back into our area, so it looks like a wonderful holiday weekend.
That's all for tonight, folks. For Steve Nedlick and Charlie Ihlenfeld, I'm Megan Acker.
And I'm Joshua Herner. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
You are watching WOUB TV in Athens and WOUC TV in Cambridge.
This is Past